Sun Devils lost to Colorado. It's time for some unfiltered and unscripted thoughts on this game on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. A shout-out to my everydayers who are here every day, and a special thank you to all of you guys for tuning in. Wherever you get your podcasts, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Stay in touch with that content by following me on Twitter at RichieBrad36 and the podcast as well at LO_Sun Devils. So similar to last week, because you guys seem to like this, so we're going to try and do this moving forward. This is like a instant reaction to the game. So I have had a couple hours to stew this over because it took me an hour and a half to drive home, and then I gave myself about 45 minutes to kind of assess everything. But this is kind of unfiltered, unscripted, how I felt about this game. Let's start with the elephant in the room. You're going up against one of the worst rush defenses in college football, and you're not running it. Now, I know that at the end of the game, in the press conference, Kenny Dillingham said that they weren't able to get it going, and Cameron Scadaboo wasn't 100% healthy. He had said that both Scadaboo and Jalen Conyers were sick during the week, and they were trying not to overload them, I suppose. But even taking that into account, you still had Kyson Brown, you still have Tevin White, you still have Javen Jacobs. You've got guys that you should be using. So why aren't you using them? How do you look at Colorado and not instantly want to just run it and just establish the run, but to a much greater extent? That I feel like that should have been top priority. But again, I can understand the team's beat up and they weren't able to get it going, whatever. The good news is they did get things going through the air. They threw for 335 yards, 1 touchdown. The team didn't commit any turnovers in the game. Elijah Badger went absolutely bananas, 12 catches, 134 yards in the game. Xavier Guillory had a good performance, 4 catches, 61 yards. Mel Constable is a beast when the ball's in his hands. He had a season-high 5 catches, turned it into 32 yards. Giovanni Sanders made a really good catch down the sidelines towards the end of the game, but it was ultimately called back. I don't know how good of a call that was, and my light just went out if you guys are looking on YouTube. So that's just how this night has gone. But this was a quality performance by the offense. And that's not something that we have gotten to say a lot this year. The offense has really struggled in the vast majority of these games. They went 6 consecutive quarters without scoring a point. They were not able to get things going against teams that they should have beat, like Oklahoma State and Cal. If you have those complete performances from your offense, you could be a 4-win team right now. Seriously. Your defense has been so good to keep you in these ball games, and the offense is just not holding up their end of the bargain. That's really frustrating. But this game, that wasn't the case. That was not the case at all in this game. In fact, you had these guys coming out ready to ball out. They were making plays. You had some crazy catches. There were some pretty good throws. There were splash plays on the ground. Trenton Bourguet was absolute dual threat on the night. He had several big carries. There was a lot of really good things to be happy about with what the offense was able to get going. So lots to build off of there. Lots and lots to build off of. I hope that this is a stepping stone game for the team, and that they look at this as an opportunity for them to get better, continue to improve, see what went right, what went wrong, move forward with that. I love how many people got involved in this game. And part of that is because of injuries. Part of that is because ASU was shorthanded in several places. But I think like 15 guys caught a target in this game. You had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 guys caught a pass. I want to say it was 15, maybe even more than that, guys that got targets. Like, because of the guys that are listed on here, Jalen Conyers got a target he didn't catch. Caleb Black made an appearance in the game. He got 2 targets, I believe. Sean Charles got a target. Like, everybody was getting an opportunity in this game. And I thought that was really cool to see these guys all get onto the football field and have that opportunity to have that game experience, whether they're going to be major fixtures for the rest of the year or part of the future of the program. But it was really cool to see them get out there. So they were doing a lot of good things right. And the final drive, man, we got to talk about the final drive because Bourguet went right down the field. Like, there were several big plays. Elijah Badger had a really good play. Troy Omeire had the game-tying touchdown at the time. Like, it was such a well-orchestrated drive. And from what we've seen from the Sun Devils this year, like, it got to a point where you're kind of sitting there and you're like, yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. Like, I've seen this story. We've had this same song and dance multiple times this year. But that wasn't the case. The offense came out and they said, we'll do it. And they said, hold my beer. We're going to do this. And they went down the field, scored a touchdown. Kenny Dillingham was asked if the thought process was there to go for 2. He said, absolutely not, because he didn't want to force Colorado into a situation where they were going to be hyper aggressive, which they didn't even need to. But if you had placed him in that situation, it might have been even worse, honestly. So they did a really good job. Offense did their part tonight. Have to be really happy with everything that they were able to provide for you tonight. I'm definitely stoked with what the offense did. Like I said, I just really hope that they can use this to build forward and continue to make that progression towards being a complete football team. These days, every potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. You can do this in minutes. And once you do, add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you want to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Also want to talk to you about our good friends over at FanDuel, because with the NFL season in full effect, you will not find any better offers for your betting needs than FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off their NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now's the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Let's go ahead and switch gears, go to the defensive side of the football, and talk about what went on there, because there was some really good, and then there was how the game ended. And it's unfortunate that that's what's going to stick with guys. And I understand, like, this was definitely a performance that you're going to remember for all the wrong reasons. And I understand why. Totally understand, would not blame you at all. They did a really, really good job in the first half. They were getting after Shedeur Sanders very consistently. They were not only getting sacks, but they were getting knockdowns. For what it's worth, bold prediction that I said was 5 sacks came to fruition. Should have been 6, but Shedeur Sanders was marked for a 0-yard gain down by BJ Green is what it is. But I don't know how many bold predictions I've gotten right this year, but that's one of them. The pass rush looked good. They did a lot of good things in this game, and he had a lot of gang tackles too. Like, looking at the box score, the only person who didn't end the game with a 0.5 sack was BJ Green, and I'm pretty sure he had 2 split sacks in the game, plus the one that wasn't counted. Like, Prince Dorbah, 2.5. We got to talk about him. Anthony Cooper, half sack. Michael Matus, half sack. Clayton Smith, half sack. Like, you had all these guys that were contributing together and putting together such a great performance in the backfield. They were all building off of each other. It wasn't just one person that took over. It wasn't just the Prince Dorbah show. It was the Sun Devils defense show starring Prince Dorbah, BJ Green, Michael Matus, Anthony Cooper, Deshaun Mallory, Caleb McCullough, Tate Romney. Like, they had so many guys that just contributed for you. You have to be thrilled with what they were giving you. The only thing that sucks is just the way the game ended. On the opening play of the final drive for Colorado, they end up giving up like a 40-something yard pass, something like that. And from the sounds of it, it was a 43-yard pass to Javon Antonio. From the sounds of it, I haven't gotten to watch the play myself. I have been trying to desensitize and relax. But apparently it was looking like a cover 3, and Ro Torrance either got the wrong call or just missed an assignment, because Antonio was just wide open down the field for a massive gain. That pretty much ended the game. It might as well have been the last play there. From there, Arizona State is able to get them down 1-2-3, and then they kick a 43-yard field goal with 12 seconds left. Arizona State gets the ball. They do nothing with it. If that play doesn't happen, I wonder what all goes on, because they had played such a great game to that point. They were doing a really good job forcing punts. They were doing a really good job in the third down department. In fact, Colorado was only 5 of 16 on third downs. Like, they were doing a great job getting off the field when they needed to get off the field. They got after the passer. They did a really good job limiting what Shedeur Sanders does. That was another bold prediction that came to fruition for me. I said they were going to hold him under his average of 356.2 yards per game. He only had 239. That's the second lowest that he's had this year. Only worst game was against Oregon, where he had 159. Like, ASU did all the right things in this game. You just, unfortunately, with most games, comes down to 1, 2, 3 plays. That's what ends up deciding it. And I want to end here on a little bit of a sour note, because I just need to complain. Pac-12 officiating is just the freaking worst. Oh my God. I'm sitting up there in the press box watching this game, having to hold my tongue. I got to be professional with everyone around me. And I'm sitting here, obscenities going through my head. Like, what am I watching? The refs were so beyond incompetent, more than they normally are. This was so difficult to watch. It was beyond me how they were calling the game the way they were calling this game. You had so many, like, we're going to review this after you had made the call on the field. And then, like, stoppages in play. Terrible penalties. They babied Shedeur Sanders. They got a really, really bad roughing the passer call on Shedeur from BJ Green. It was just pathetic. Just absolutely pathetic. Meanwhile, Trenton Bourguet is getting bodied around and not going to get the calls because his name's not Shedeur Sanders. Like, I don't know, man. It was really frustrating to watch. I'm not going to sit here because I don't typically like to be the guy that's like, oh, the refs cost us the game, whatever. But there were some very critical moments where they absolutely affected the game. Kenny Dillingham brought to the attention on on the field goal attempt that we had that was like a knuckleball because it looked like it got blocked. Kenny Dillingham said that Colorado looked like they were offsides. If Kenny Dillingham is saying something like that, I'm probably going to trust him. They're not going to review it, though. And because of that, ASU got cheated of 3 points. They potentially could have been cheated of 7. I don't remember at the time if that was going to be a play that would have, if you got the offsides, would have given them a first down. But, like, you talk about different situations at that point. Like, that is such a critical moment in the game that was missed by the refs. That is 100% something to complain about. This overall, like, ASU, yes, there were some really dumb penalties. Like you had Ed Woods have a targeting call in the second half. He will now miss the first half of the Washington game in 2 weeks. That sucks. Kenny Dillingham said in the press conference, like, it's a learning experience for you. You'll get better from it. But besides that, man, and don't get me wrong, it went both ways. Colorado had 8 penalties. Arizona State had 9. But it felt like Arizona State's were just so much more costly. And that when Arizona State was getting flagged, that it felt like it affected the game so much more. Maybe I'm just being a fan. Maybe that's just that perspective of me having that. But it was tough to watch. I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of you guys were also very mad at the refs. And you should be. Because Pac-12 officiating is beyond a joke. It's pathetic. And they've been doing it for years. I will tell you right now, I'm not going to miss this freaking conference when it comes to their officiating. I am so glad that we're gone. I'm glad that we're going to the Big 12 where they hold guys to higher standards. They have good production for their TV networks and everything. Like, the Pac-12 network was really screwy for a bunch of people. I had good friends of mine messaging me, and they were like, I'm not going to miss this. And it's like, I'm not either. Like, it's just so frustrating. But, it's the most Pac-12 thing ever to have the refs want to make it all about them. It was the ref show today, guest starring, I should say, the Arizona State Sun Devils and the Colorado Buffs. But that's pretty much my unfiltered thoughts on this game. If you guys want more laid out thoughts on this game, more thought out, articulate, kind of breaking it down for you, then you should hit subscribe, like, follow, whatever it is, wherever you're getting your podcast, and turn on notifications so that you get an update whenever we post new content Monday through Friday. I appreciate you guys as always for tuning in. I will see you all on Monday to talk about this game more. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.